guys, Katie Huller here with KidsCanReadAndWrite.com. Today I want to talk to you about how to help your kids read some big words. Now, a lot of kids will get intimidated when they see a whole bunch of letters in a row. And some will just guess at the word, others will mumble through it, some will skip the word entirely. Some will try to sound out all the letters and just find they have no idea what they said when they get to the end. So I want to give you a way to help them break these big words up so that they can read one little part at a time and make it so much easier. I always tell my tutoring kids that the big words are my favorite words, and it's true. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it's a lot of fun to teach kids how to read big words too. So let's get started. So when we're reading big words, we can actually turn them into little words. Now, to read any words, your kids need to know their letters and sounds. They need to have a good blending technique. And for these words, they're also going to have to know some of the tricks. What are tricks? Those are letters that make new sounds when they're together than we normally teach letters and sounds make. So like S and the H say sh, or C and the H say ch, or E and the R say Those are what I call tricks, because if your kids don't know them, guess what? They'll get tricked. So let's talk about how to read these words. So if your kids know letters and sounds and they have a good blending technique, we're ready to read one type of big word for sure. Now it's going to be dependent on finding the vowels. So make sure your child knows that the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. You don't really need to worry about Y for this. So A, E, I, O, and U. Those are the ones we're really looking for here. So I'm going to look for my first vowel in the word. And here it is. I'm going to drag it, glue it right onto that next sound. That's where I'm going to break it, right there. So all I have to read to start is k, on, k, on. Notice I don't go k, n. I don't want to separate all the sounds. I want to treat the vowel like glue. So I'm going to glue it on to the next sound. So it should sound like k, on, con. Now some people prefer really short sounds to their letters, k and n. I like to hear what I'm saying, k, on, con. If your kids have blurry hearing or processing issues, they may need a really loud sound to hear the sounds also. It's up to you whether you keep it super short or long, but make sure you're dragging that vowel into that next sound. Do not space between all the sounds. K, on. Notice I don't stop saying this until I get to here. So I've got the con together. My next vowel is right here. So I'm going to glue that onto the D. See Daddy's face here? He's about to climb up the ladder. So that's D, da, okay? I'm gonna break it as soon as I do that. Soon as I glue the vowel onto that next letter, that's almost always where you can break it. Now, sometimes there are compound words or weird things going on where we'll move it one letter, but basically this works. So it's a lot less complicated than having to learn a million rules as to where to break it. So this is my preferred method. I found it works really good for my dyslexic students. They end up loving to read the big words just like I do, because it's easy and it's fun and it's great to show off all that knowledge when you can read big words. It's really fun. So here's what we want to do. We want to make their eyes see it in little parts. That way they actually see what's there and they're less likely to come out with something else. And we have to make sure they're going in order all the way to the end. A lot of kids, when I first start working with them, will read the first part and guess the rest. Well, that's a terrible idea because there are so many words that start like con, convict, concerned, and then of course this one, which we'll read in a second. So here we go. We've got our id, fid next, and then we're going to end with this syllable or chunk. Oh, my pen is running out. Let me switch. So we're going to glue this onto there. So ent. We just add that one on. Ent. Now, after your child reads each chunk, then you want to start putting them together. Now, if your child has processing issues, auditory processing issues, this may be challenging at first. It's a skill you have to teach them to put this part and this part together. You can get those together, and then you can add the third part. If your child doesn't have any auditory processing issues, it's likely they're going to hear the word the first time they go through it, and it'll be easy. Even if they have processing issues, after you train this, they should be able to go quickly through it and put it together. But in the beginning, kids with auditory issues will often stumble for a while. So don't give up if it takes a little bit of time. But here's how it works. All right, so we're going to go ka-on, con, fa-id, fid, ent, ent. Now we're going to put this and this together. Con, fid, confid, ent, confid, ent, confid, ent. Now, if your child is not able to get it, let's say it's coming out something just totally different, have them go back and say, okay, what's this part? Make sure they can say con. If they need to resound it out, let them. Don't assume that just because they just sounded it out, they're going to remember it. Kids who have memory issues won't. They're going to need to figure it out again until they train their brain to kind of hang on to it for longer. So ka-on, con, and then say, great, that's con. What is the next chunk? Make sure they can go fa-id, fid. This is the key. They have to be able to sound out the little nonsense parts. So fa-id, fid. Then you can say, okay, what would those two be together? And you can have them use a finger and another finger if you need to. Con, fid, and I can, this is con, this is fid, right? Con, fid, and then I'm going to use a third finger for that third part. Ent. What's the third part? They should be able to say ent. Now put it together. Con, fid, ent. So what is it? Con, fid, ent. Right? We have three parts. Con, fid, ent. Now, if this is a tongue twister for your child and they're coming out with like conent or something, they're missing this. Say, watch the fingers. Use your fingers. What's finger one? Con. Good. What's finger two? Id. Fid. Good. Put 1 and 2 together. Confid. Good. Now we have to add 3. What's 3? Ent. Ent. Now put them together. Ready? Con, fid, ent. Now you want to be this patient with them, even if it takes you 10 minutes to read one long word in the beginning, that's okay. You never know which one is going to be that sticky one that's just a nightmare to get through. It takes like 10 minutes literally to read one word. That's okay. You are training their brain for success. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. Just every time act like it's the first time. Because what happens if you start raising your voice or going, oh, you know this, you just read it, you're making them nervous. You're going to make them anxious, and they're not going to want to work with you. So make sure you're calm, you're happy. Good job. You praise the effort. Not getting it right. We don't really care if they get it right every time. We care if they have a good attitude and are using their tools and trying their best. That's what you want to praise. So praise that. Great job. You almost got it. And then start it again. Con, fid, ent. What is it? Con, fid, ent. You can go a little faster. Con, fid, ent. But the goal is to help them learn how to hear it. And some words you'll find are just sticklers. They take a while. And then others, they'll just blow right through and no problem. So processing issues are funny that way. You never know which word's going to be the one that's going to hang you up for a little bit. But just get through it and don't give up, because you don't want your child to give up. You don't want the message to be, oh, you can't do this. So don't just tell them the word and move to the next one. That doesn't help their brain. Their brain needs to learn to map this out and figure it out. So let them map it out, figure it out as long as it takes. Then guess what? When they want to spell it, they hear confident, because they've mapped it. Let them map it. Be patient. Don't tell the answer even if you're dying to. All right, let's try this one. So this is another example of a big word that your child might want to break up. But for this one, you're going to notice your child needs more than just letters and sounds and a good blending technique. This one, all we had to know were the basic letters and sounds of the alphabet. This one, we have to know what I call tricks. Remember, the letters that work together to make new sounds. So we have our first trick here, E and the R. They say, do you know? I always tell the kids that E's talking, I'm leaving these open too long, that E's talking to the R. And so when the teacher calls on them, they say, we don't know. They don't know the answer because they've been talking too much. So E and the R say right after that vowel glues onto that letter. Well, it's a trick, so they're already glued together. That's where we're going to break it, okay? Our next vowel is right here. Oh my goodness, all of mine are running out of steam. I'm gonna have to get some new ones. All right, let's see if we can make do. All right, so this one's gluing onto there. All right, so that's pretty easy. And then we have another trick in this last chunk. Do you know what it is? If you know about E's at the end of a word, E's will make the closest vowel say their name. So in this case, this is going to say its name. It's a letter E, so it's going to say E. All right, so here we go. Let's read it part by part. Here we go. P-er. That's easy, right? Per. Then we're going to do this one. S-ev. Sev. So if we want to go ahead and put 1 and 2 together, we go per, sev, per, sev. Then we're going to tackle part number 3. Ear, ear. So here we go. Per, sev, ear, ear. Per, sev, ear. And again, you can use the fingers if you need to. Per, sev. So what would it be? Per, sev. And what's the third one? Ear. Per, sev, ear. Sometimes if syllables are getting swallowed up, it's a good idea to pull out fingers so your kids can see, oh, I missed a chunk, all right? You want to help them see these parts and understand they have to say these parts in order, okay? So just like that, but we're making little tiny words and it makes it so much easier. So persevere. So these are big words, but it's nice and easy once you learn how to break them up. And again, if your child has auditory processing issues, you're going to have to train the brain, especially if they have memory issues too, because they have to remember a lot of information and process it correctly. So it's a lot. So if your child has dyslexia, this is entirely possible. I teach all my dyslexic students, whether they're in 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, or higher, how to read big words. It's part of my program. So we do this. Everybody can do this, but if your child is dyslexic, it might take a little longer to help them get it down so that they can do it on their own. That's okay. Don't give up and remember to be patient. So let's see. Do you know where you would break this word? See if you can figure it out. Where would you have your child break this word apart? Remember, find the vowel, go one past. You're using the vowel like glue, so glue it on to the next letter. And then go to the next chunk, do the same thing till you get to the end of the word. So let's see if you did it. Here's our first vowel. Gonna glue it on to the next letter. We're gonna break it right there. Our next vowel is the O. We're gonna glue it on to the next letter. Then we're gonna break it right there. Our last vowel is the I. We're gonna glue it on to the next letter, which is actually a trick. How many people recognize that there was a trick there? So S and the H, they say, shh, there's a snake. Shh, there's a snake. Okay? So you have to know that. If your child doesn't know the tricks, if your child doesn't know the S and the H say shh, or doesn't recognize it when reading, you have to make sure you start teaching that. And my program, Black Belt Reading, goes through all the tricks and teaches how to read the short words, the big words, all the sizes of words as they do so. So if you need help teaching the tricks, you're like, I don't know the tricks or how to teach them, and I don't want to get all the tools put together, look up Black Belt Reading at kidscanreadandwrite.com. It's also at kidscanonlineacademy.com. So whichever you would rather look up, go there. You can find the Black Belt Reading program. It has everything you need. Videos that teach to the student rather than to you, the parent. And it has a huge packet of work for you to practice with your child after watching the videos. So if you're looking for a program to help your child learn to read and write, consider that. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep posting videos here so that you can start learning how to help your child. And if you want to pull all the resources together, go for it. But if you want help doing that and you want a program that's already made and a pathway to go from non-reading to reading, I got you covered. All right, so here we go. Let's read this last one. Remember, A is the apple with the stem. We say ah for A. So we're going to say ack. Now do the second part. Notice how I'm dragging that into that. Calm. And then the last part. We have a blend at the beginning, so we're going to go ish, polish. Now, some people don't like to put the at the end of letters. If you don't want to say pa and la, that's fine. You can go pull-ish, polish. It's up to you. I have auditory processing issues, so it's easier for me to hear a letter when I go pa, la. I really don't like going, I don't know. So do it how you like to do it. Either way is fine. You can teach kids to read and write either way. Surprise! Either way works. There's not a one way only when you're teaching reading, but there is one road to reading. That's kids need to know their letters. They need to know their sounds. They need to know a good blending technique. They need to know the tricks, those letters that make new sounds when put together or in certain positions in words. And then they need to be flexible enough to read the outlaw words, the ones that don't follow the rules, at least not the rules that most kids are taught and aware of. So if you follow that road and get your child doing those things, they will learn to read. So that's the exciting part. So now let's read this big word. Ready? Ack, ish, plish. A little faster. Ack, plish. And you want to show your child, see how I'm tracing under the letters as I do it? That's what you want your child to understand. Look, these are all in line. And as long as you give everybody their turn and blend it together nicely, you're going to get the word. They're going to tell you what to say. That's a nice part about reading. It's like multiple choice tests. They give you the answers. You just have to recognize them and pick the right one. So we have to recognize these letters, know their sounds, and put them together. But they're all kind of there to jog our memory. We don't have to come up with it like we do with spelling. That's why spelling is harder for dyslexics than reading, because spelling, everything has to be, remembered and brought up without the clues right in front of you. Whereas this is more like a multiple choice test where you see the right answers, you just have to say them. So, all right, so let's put it together. We have ack, com, and plish. So if you want to get your fingers, it would be ack, com, plish. A little faster. Ack, com, plish. Ack, com, plish. Ack, com, plish. And you have to kind of teach them this language of hearing these parts. If they need to, put 1 and 2 together. Ack, com, and then add 3. Plish. Ack, com, plish. Accomplish. And then make sure you're going over what the word means afterward, because they might have never heard that word before. So make sure you're going over it. Accomplish. Like, look, isn't it fun to accomplish things? Isn't it fun to get that finished, to do it? That's amazing. Confident. We want you to be confident when you're working with your kids. We want you to know what you're doing so that you can help them and they will feel confident as well, right? And for sure, persevere. Persevere through the difficulties. Don't give up. Don't let your child give up. Make sure you take that deep breath. If you're feeling frustrated because they just can't hear it, take the deep breath, relax, have fun. Remember when your kids fell down trying to walk, you didn't stress over it. You just laughed, picked them up, and let them try again. Do that with reading. Don't let them get stressed. Have fun, laugh, explore it together. Tell them stories, chat, have fun. It doesn't need to be a stern lesson all the time. Have fun with your kids. Remember, they're only kids once. Mine are old and grown now, and I wish we could go back to the days where they were so little and learning things like this. It was just so fun. I know you're probably exhausted and tired and all of that, but I'm telling you, you're gonna miss it. When it's gone, when they're old and grown, you're gonna miss it. So enjoy it right now. Don't get stressed out. They're going to learn if you keep teaching them and persevere through the difficulties. Stay tuned. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if this helped you. And just go to my website if you need more help. Find a way to contact me. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. So good luck. Enjoy reading big words with your kids, and let me know if you have any questions or if there's any way I can help you in the future. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.